Have you ever wondered why your day is split into 24 hours and your minutes into 60 seconds instead of a nice clean number like 100? We live in a world built on base 10 because we have 10 fingers and 10 toes. But when it comes to time, we are still living by the rules of ancient civilizations from 6000 years ago. So the first big question is, if we have 10 fingers, why didn't the ancients just count to 10? The answer is that they did use their hands, but they were much more clever about it than we are today. Ancient Babylonians and Sumerians used their thumb to count the three segments on each of their other four fingers, which gets you to 12 on just one hand. Then they would hold up one finger on their other hand to mark that they had finished a set of 12, and since that hand has 5 fingers, 12 times 5 equals 60. This allowed them to count all the way to 60 using just two hands, creating what we call a base 60 system. You might then ask, is counting on your knuckles really the only reason we use 60? Actually, there is a massive mathematical benefit that makes 60 way better than 10 for measuring things. The number 60 is what mathematicians call highly composite, meaning it is divisible by a ton of different numbers. While 10 can only be divided evenly by 2 and 5, 60 can be divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, and 30. This was a huge deal for ancient merchants and astronomers because it meant they could easily calculate a half, a third, a quarter, or even a fifth of an hour without ending up with massive fractions or repeating decimals. But wait, if they loved 60 so much, why does our day have 24 hours instead of 60? This part of the story takes us to ancient Egypt about 3500 years ago. The Egyptians used sundials to divide the daylight into 12 parts, and then used the appearance of 12 special stars to track 12 parts of the night. Since they had 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night, we ended up with a 24-hour cycle. Originally, these hours were not even a fixed length. Summer hours were actually longer than winter hours because they depended on how much sunlight there was. So how did we eventually get down to the level of minutes and seconds? We can thank Greek astronomers and mathematicians for that. They realized that you could fit 6 equilateral triangles inside a circle, and since they used Babylonian-based 60 system, they gave each triangle a value of 60, which created the 360-degree circle we still use in geometry. Later on, famous thinkers like Hipparchus and Ptolemy divided those degrees into 60 smaller parts called minutes, and then divided those into even smaller secondary parts called seconds. It actually took over 1,000 years for these geographical measurements to be applied to our clocks, mostly after mechanical clocks and pendulums were invented and could finally track such tiny bits of time accurately. At this point, you might be thinking this all sounds really complicated. So has anyone ever tried to fix it and make it base 10? Yes, the French actually tried to do exactly that during the French Revolution in 1793. They introduced French Revolutionary Time, which was a 10-hour day with 100 minutes per hour and 100 seconds per minute. It made time-related math much easier, like knowing that 80% of your day was over at exactly the 8th hour. However, this new system was a total disaster because every person already had a well-established habit of telling time the old way, and replacing every clock in the country was way too expensive. People were so confused that the French government gave up on it after only 17 months. In the end, we still use base 60 because it is mathematically elegant and incredibly durable. Even though we have switched to base 10 for almost everything else, like our money and our metric measurements, the ancient system of 60 remains the universal language of time. It is a system that connects us directly to the star watchers of Babylon and the sundials of Egypt every single time we look at our phones to check the time. So next time you are waiting for a 60-second timer to go off, just remember that you are participating in a 6,000-year-old tradition.